Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. And welcome to episode, I think, 15 of Smallville, the saviour of Superman. Now, today we're going to talk about a very, very small season 6 episode called Crimson. Do you remember it? I bet you do. Why are you talking about Crimson, Mick? Because Crimson's one of those episodes when it was promoted and marketed, it looks like an absolute filler. I hated fillers. I hate fillers of any TV show. But there's no way I was ever going to miss an episode of Smallville. But it always seemed like a waste of a week, especially what was going on in season 6 with 33.1 and Lex and all of that. So Crimson's a really interesting episode, and you kind of think, right, so Lois is going to put on red K lipstick. Clark's going to go all bad boy again. Haven't we been here how many more times? And so you kind of feel that way at the beginning of the episode, like Lois is obsessed with Clark. But that's kind of fun because of the future they're going to have. And when you look at it now and how they got together in the end and everything. But so it was a great episode in the sense of seeing Clark and Lois as a couple, even though they weren't really a couple. Now, this episode is very light and fluffy, I'd say, for about, what should we say, 20, 25 minutes? Then all of a sudden, this episode clicks into gear. The third act of this episode is one of the best third acts of a Smallville episode I've ever seen. I was just so shocked. I thought I was going to come in to watch a waste of time, light-hearted filler. And ultimately, I saw one of the best third acts in Smallville history. Because from the moment Clark finds out there's a rehearsal dinner at the Luthers, it all goes insane. I must say this is one of Tom Welling's best performances with Clark under the red K. It really was. At times, he was absolutely hilarious. I mean, this episode proves Tom had range and has range. Very talented. It was very entertaining. And then the whole thing when he finds out about the rehearsal dinner, he goes to the Luthers. I love the way he disses Martha and calls her a traitor. In a way, she kind of is being a traitor. She aligned with Lionel after everything he did, even though he's helped them and stuff. You shouldn't really be that close with him. It's obvious that Jonathan would never have approved of this. But here's Martha befriending the Luthers, and Clark is See, what Red K does to Clark on Smallville, it may be a bit different in kind of the comics, but on Smallville, it takes away his inhibitions. So he's not going to be the normal, pure-hearted Clark who says, I better not say this, I better not say that, I don't want to cause a fuss, Well, there's a lot of people like that. I can be like that as well. I don't speak my mind because I don't want to hurt anyone, and this is what Clark's normally like. But when he's on Red K, it all changes. And then, obviously, he finds out that Lana's pregnant, and he goes, the real reason you're marrying Lex. Hilarious. The way he just comes in there and just disses everybody is freaking amazing. It really is enjoyable. Tom's the heart of every episode. Of course, he's Clark. But he really is the heart of this episode. He is the reason this episode works. And it's really good. And then, obviously, he kidnaps Lana. And that's great. Kristin's amazing as usual. And then Michael as Lex. The whole thing in the barn with the gun. And what I love about this episode, it kicks off, Lana ultimately discovering Clark's secret. Because basically Lex tries to stab Clark with some kind of wrench or metal pole or whatever it is. And it's dented. So Lana's antennas are up by now, right? She's becoming suspicious. And the climax to this episode, the final scene of this episode, is amazing because not only do we discover she's got this under her pillow, I mean, whatever turns you on, Lana, and then we discover that there's something very dodgy about Lana's pregnancy, and I kind of think, well, is this Connor Kent? Is this what? I mean, I actually think that would have been kind of awesome if Lex implanted kind of this clone of Clark and Lex in Lana, and we could have seen the fruitions of Connor Kent through the seasons. I think that would have been much what am I talking about? Would have been much better than what they did in season 10. And I was still excited that we were getting Connor Kent. I even said online, I said, this is another achievement by the show. We're even getting Connor Kent. And they did it well. But I think if you did that, so I was just really excited when I found out her pregnancy wasn't exactly what it was cracked up to be. So ultimately, it was a fake pregnancy. So I still think if it was a clone, it would have been a lot more fun. And if it was Connor Kent, it would have been even more awesome. But they didn't do that. But so this whole episode descends into absolute insanity. And it's amazing. It really, really is. It's one of those episodes you think is going to be crap and underwhelming. But ultimately, and I can't remember who wrote it. It might have even been Kelly Souders and Brian Peterson. How can I forget those surnames, eh? Part of the heartbeat of the show. But yes, I think whoever wrote that episode was really, really good. And you can kind of see that Lois kind of does love Clark. And it really became apparent from season 5. I think it's in the 100th episode when Jonathan dies. And she says to Lana, anyone lucky enough to have Clark, or whatever she said. So she already looks up to the guy. But it's kind of emotional, actually, because this wonderful woman, she's got all these beautiful qualities. But when we first meet her in the first few seasons, she's hiding how she really feels. She loves Clark. She loves Clark. She wants to be with him. But she's kind of settling all the time. She's settling for Grant Gabriel. She's even settling for Oliver Queen. That's not the relationship for her. And then I love in season 6, in that episode where Clark's pretending to be Oliver and they kiss. And that is pretty awesome as well. But I think that Crimson, the reason I wanted to talk about Crimson today was I was thinking about what can I talk about today. And I thought maybe I could talk about something really, really big. But I think sometimes I remember how I felt when I watched episodes and after watching episodes. And I just remember how pumped I was after this episode. Because I went in, ready to watch something that I thought wasn't going to leave a lasting impression on me. And it left a massive impression on me. So they kind of fooled you into thinking it was a light filler. But it actually ended up being something fantastic. Now, what's very dangerous about marketing an episode like that, not everyone's going to come in for it. That's very problematic. Because this episode, even though it was disguised as a filler, it wasn't a filler. It actually wasn't a filler. It connected to everything. It connected to Clark's frustrations, the fact that Lana and Lex were going to get married, and then the big thing about kind of Lana starting to discover about Clark's secret as well. This is the beginning. So it was it was a very vital, pivotal episode. And yeah, absolutely crazy to kind of disguise it in the marketing as a filler, but that's what they did. So this is actually an episode. I always say to people, I love Crimson. And they say, what? I said, well, have you actually seen the whole episode? Some Smallville fans have never seen Crimson. I know it's shocking, isn't it? I think people used to avoid fillers if they thought it had nothing to do with anything. But ultimately, I think if you did miss Crimson at the time of its airing, you should definitely go and rewatch it because it certainly is a very rewarding episode.